Example 5 is finding an equation of an exponential curve given 2 points. Now we're going to do this by hand rather than the calculator. We'll learn to do that next section. But when you do it by hand, basically I will make sure you always get one point that is 0 something, which means I'll be giving you the y-intercept, so that'll make it a little easier. So here we go. Example 5. Find an approximate equation, and then it gives you the form, of the exponential curve that consists of those 2 points, round to 2 decimal places. So, since we're going to be using f of x equals a times b raised to the x, we have to find the a, which is the y-intercept, and b, the base multiplier. Well, again, the y-intercept is always found when you set x equal to 0. So since x is 0 here, the a, or the y-intercept, is 3. So we have f of x equals 3 times b to the x. Now, to find the b, we have another point notice. So we have more information, and we'll be using that information. We can substitute 4 in for the x, and 70 in for the f of x, or the y. I'll put f of x. So we put the 70 in for the f of x or y, 4 for the b, and notice this is in the form of the problems we were solving a little earlier in example, I believe, 2 and 3. So to solve this, we would divide both sides by 3 and raise both sides to the power of 1/4. So let's do that real quick. So divide by 3 and raise to the 1/4. And again, we would get normally a plus minus here, but because we're talking about an exponential function, the b is always positive. So let's get our calculator. With our calculator, I'm going to put in parentheses the 70 divided by 3. 70. Let's move that up a hair. Divided by 3. We're going to raise that to the 1/4. You could put 0.25, but I'll do 1 divided by 4. Again, if we were just solving for b, we would have plus or minus that. It said that we wanted 2 decimal places, so that would actually be 2.20. So b equals 2.20. So therefore our function, our exponential function, would be f of x equals a, which is 3, times, I'll put it in parentheses this time, times b, which we found was 2.20, raised to the x. That's the exponential function that goes through those 2 points. Now again, once you finish a section, it's always good to go over the objectives. Make sure you understand how to use them. The objectives, again, were to use the base multiplier property to find an exponential equation. So you'll remember that we had a table of values, and we were able to, from that table of values, look at where x is 0 to find the a, and then we were able to look at the pattern to find the base multiplier. Then we solved equations in that form so that we could do this last final third thing, which is use 2 points to find an exponential equation. Again, the book gives you sometimes 2 points where it doesn't give you the y-intercept, in other words, x equal to 0, but for our purposes, when we do it by hand, you will always have 1 point that contains the y-intercept, which makes it a lot easier. So there you have section 4.